All right, looks like we're live. Let me check my LinkedIn, see if I can fully log in. All right, so we are live. I just checked LinkedIn. So, hello everybody. My name is Daryl. So tonight, Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 p.m., I'm going to attempt to build an integrated project program management IP2M maturity and environment risk rating meter developed by ASU and the Department of. So this is strictly open source. You can visit their website and learn more about their effort in developing an earned value management system with ASU and DOE. So special shout out to all the members, panelists, people who are involved in developing this system. And what I want to do, since this system is pretty complex, I want to challenge a large language model if it can actually operate in a very complex environment, starting from a project to a program and so forth. So most likely, or I will put this public on my GitHub, since I'm actually taking information from an open source website. So to stay out of trouble, this is going to be open source, and I'll post it on my GitHub. I have not done this before, so this is my first time. So I'm going to combine vibe coding and question coding at the same time, and do some Socratic reasoning with GPT-5. So I'm going to walk through it unscripted and see how I AI. So let's take the website and copy it, and let's have GPT create a sophisticated recommendation. Mhm. Sorry guys, I got daddy duty, so multitasking here, so apologize for all the noise. So going back to what I'm trying to build, so I'm going to ask GPT-5 to take the website and analyze the content, then provide a sophisticated recommendation to build an AI agent. So we're going to just build one AI agent, and then we can incorporate multiple AI agents, because with this complex system, we all know the AI agent, not GINTs, they're not as sophisticated as it should be. So I guess I just want to challenge it. So prompting this out, I call this priming, just to pre-pilot the chatbot or GPT-5. So that way it'll provide learning in the process. So I'm not going to give it too much. I'm just going to give it just as what you see here. Press enter. And let it do its thing. Oh, disclaimer, backtrack to ASU, partner of Angie. I'm not affiliated or sponsored with those um, agencies. So this is done on my own free will. And like I said, I'm going to keep it open source, and I'll post this on GitHub. And since we're taking the title, the title, I'm gonna change the title here as far as posting it up publicly. All right, so what it gave is executive analysis on the IPM2 site, purpose and scope. IPM2 meter is a DOE-sponsored research led by ASU to access both EBMS systems maturity anchored on the 32 EIA 748 guidelines in the project and program environment. It cross-references PMI's ANSI EVM 2019 and ISO 21508 2018. Provides the artifacts. Let's see, adoption. And here it's giving me the recommendation. Mm-hmm. Apologize, guys. So, recommendation, build an IPM2 meter copilot on-prem, evidence traced. One thing I didn't give it is if I'm either going to use an API key or local install. So this is pretty interesting to see how it generated the copilot on-prem. So I guess it's monitoring my behavior and what I ask GPT or the AI itself. So really concerning to me, especially with that short length of context. Mission, accelerate, standardize, and evidence trace IPM2 meter assessment from planning through remediation while preserving human authority. And this is pretty interesting too, because as far as the context and the instructions I gave it, I didn't give it too much of what I was asking for. And with my interaction with GPT-5 and other models here, it's storing what I ask it, which of course, there's on the settings, there's memory and stuff that I can opt in, opt out, but I'm using this public one and not my private GPT. It should be able to at least give me some privacy with what I ask it, or so it's very interesting. I didn't ask it for any evidence-based or any type of assessment. I just gave it a simple prompt. Then it's going out as high-level capabilities, assessment orchestrator, guided workflows for pre-assessment scoping, stakeholder mapping, and data collection, role-aware session plans aligned with the IPM2 guidebook, artifacts, question sets, documents evidence, using RAG with hard citations. Again, this is really interesting to see how depth it goes into just by this context here with, provide a sophisticated recommendation after you analyze the website. And I'm probably going to test this later on by not having my own account. I'll probably just do it with a unofficial account or something like that. So we'll see how detailed this thing comes out. All right, so it's using the DOE PARS wiki passages, which I am really going to challenge the large language model, because considering the fact that it's already going to do RAG on government websites, which I did not tell it to, that's pretty concerning to me. Yeah, it's open source, but at the same time, I would like the recommendation from the AI to at least say, hey, heads up, my recommendation is to do some RAG on some government website. Facilitate interview assistant, generates facilitator scripts, probes, and follow-ups feed to specific maturity attributes. Scoring, traceability, layered, explainable. Okay, sort of read the guidebook, but not too detailed. No proprietary scoring is invented, which that might be a lie. Calculations are parameterized so they can reflect the methodology released with IPM2 per the guidebook apprenticing software. So as you see here, it does give me the references on where to find it. Get this test to see if it's actually going to, okay, pretty good improvement from the last model. So I'm not going to go too nitty bitty on the websites, but here and there I kind of just test it. Sometimes it gives me the 4 def page. So far it's been doing good so far. Stakeholder specific views, owner, prime, cams, DCMA, and DOE interface, heat map. Okay. Architecture offline first. Interesting, because I did not ask to do this. In my science projects, I am targeting offline first AI in my build, mainly because, like I said, I'm starting to notice that it's actually storing and applying my information that I'm asking it, um, besides asking it to do other things. So yeah, this is concerning to me because I didn't ask it to do this yet, I guess. Local inference, how does it know I'm going to use Olama? Olama is a local-based large language model that can be stored or installed on your laptop, computer system, and you can actually use it offline. Believe it or not, I used Olama to code on an airplane last year, and it's pretty slow, but it does its work. So you're able to do some vibe coding or some AI question and answer type of thing using Olama. Like I said, I'm not sponsored or affiliated by Olama, but they're a pretty good model to use if you want something locally. Document stack is going to use PDF and office parsing, policy graph, prompting, two-former function calling, storage. It's going to use SQLite and Postgres, which I'm pretty disappointed on how it will not at least use JSON, since JSON is the most user-friendly type of document that the AI can actually read. I'm surprised it didn't mention that as far as storage or RAG. Admin, role-based access, redaction for sensitive contracts, audit log for every recommendation, human in the loop. Okay, pretty important, but I did not ask for that. Facilitator gates, the agent cannot finalize scores or improvement. This is interesting because about 2 hours ago, I was looking into how Socratic reasoning and thinking will be able to help a AI agent project manager in guiding human project manager in specific steps, processes, phases, phase gates. And again, I was not, I guess I gotta stop believing in AI and really trying to go down the bandwagon of trying to keep my data stored privately. This is interesting how it provided this within this assessment. So now it's going to stop on every step, I guess if you put it that way. So before it scores the actual project, it will not go. It will not go past where it actually is at its current stage. Session replay, timestamp, trail linked every claim to a paragraph, page, and guidebook on DOE and ASC training assets. Again, I'm curious to see when I vibe code this entire proof of concept out. Will the AI agent inform me that it's actually doing some sort of RAG or some sort of web scraping on a government website. So I'm probably gonna start looking into that since I'm looking into this functionality here with AI. Create new EVMS criteria beyond IPM2 scope, black box maturity. So pretty interesting how it's also mentioning that too, because it's even telling me what not to automate. Um, Curious to see. So it even gave me a roadmap. It's gonna take about 90 days to fully develop this. But since we're vibe coding, it's probably gonna take maybe 3 days. Um, not as efficient, but we're just gonna have the basics. Considering the fact that we don't have actual real world data with this proof of concept. And this is what I was talking about with my FARS and DFARS AI agent. Could I web scrape a website as complex as those two websites and create realistic, maybe about 90% realistic training sets to incorporate into an AI agent? So that'll be really interesting. So that way we're not tied down to, to the man where like Lockheed has proprietary information, Boeing and so forth. So at least getting that percentage to 90%, in my opinion, it's close, but in reality, it's not because it's still synthetic. But at least I'm trying. Let's see. Document evidence of congestion, RAG with hard citation. Uh, this, like I said, concerns me because all these things that's actually provided. It's what I research behind the scenes for my science project. Um, One-click intake. I'm kind of curious about that. One-click. What is it? Vectorized retrieval scope. EIA 748 summaries. Again, it's pointing out to PMI, ISO, IPM2. See, all these types of entities, the agent, once I build it, the agent should be able to tell me that it's actually going out to those websites due to the complexity of the build and the ownership of the content itself. So I'm curious to see if it actually give me that. So data interview assistant generates facilitator scripts, probes, follows ups. Okay, traceability layer. Um, it's going off the guidebook. Findings and remediation planner. Okay, still going off the guidebook. Architecture offline first. Human in the loop. It's just repeating itself. KPIs and guardrails. Evidence coverage. Greater than 95% of claims include at least one primary source citation. Facilitator acceptance. Greater than 85% of draft findings accepted without material rewrite and pilots. Okay. Time to first draft. Zero hallucination policy, which that's not going to happen. Block answer if no authoritative citation is found. So as far as its output, it's about 92% accurate. The 8%, the not 100%, because the exact internal scoring computations of the latest software may have nuances not fully described in publicly available documents. Training videos and pages may have been updated after 2022. I relied on accessible DOE ASU sources today. Some site subpages, full publication list, load dynamic content that is fully indexed, organizational adoption process, yada, yada, yada. One thing that it did not provide is the ability to go on that website, that government website, and some web scraping. So I'm going to tweak the prompt and see if it can provide that for me. One thing though, so one thing I did offline was to see if it can go to Pornhub. So with my prompt jailbroken, it still won't go to Pornhub, which is pretty interesting. But it can actually take my information that I'm doing research on and actually put it into a proof of concept that I just give it very, very little information and say, hey, assess this and give me your recommendation. So maybe I got to go in here and say, do not use any of my research, previous chats with you and so forth. So maybe I got to do that. But it won't go to Pornhub. So pretty interesting stuff. And it gives me the websites. So I tested a couple websites up above, but not gonna go too crazy with that. All right, so interesting. So it does give me College of Performance Management. Yes, interesting because I did not put my resume in here on my LinkedIn on here, and it actually provided that. Of course, it's open source, so maybe that's how I got it, but I don't know. Well, I still gotta do more digging into how it's actually retrieving actual information, which that's my focus as far as having to trust the AI agent and giving me evidence-based accuracy, which I don't think anybody's talking about right now. We're all talking about building something, I guess, with painting a building or something like that, some crap like that. No one's talking about the boring, serious stuff, So yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use WebStorm to create the agent and the environment, but I'm going to ask it if it can give me a prompt to prompt the agent, the augment agent, to build it for me. So yes, I know it's a overkill, but hey, the tool is there for me to use, so why not use it? And that's what I'm saying. Everything that I think of, it just takes it away, and I'm giving it to the agent. So that's what's concerning me too. But anyways, I digress. So let's ask the Mr. GPT-5, please provide a sophisticated prompt to for me to task augment an AI agent IDE in WebStorm and build this out for me. Yeah, think longer, buddy. So I do this for personal practices. One, I'm trying so hard not to drink the AGI juice, which happens sometimes. Um, and like I said, I don't want to get brainwashed with all the Sam Altman hype out there. And Sam Altman, if you're listening, fix your shit. Your shit's not AGI yet, so fix your shit. All right, build prompt, IPM2 meter copilot, WebStorm. You're an autonomous software engineer. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. 30 to 40 days, MVP. Yeah, I doubt it. It's going to be amateur level. It's using Electron, which is pretty interesting how it defaults to Electron and not Tori. Tori is a new web app development software or environment that's similar to Electron. So I'm really interesting to see Electron instead of the new softwares out there. Tech stack using React, Vite, Next.js, Tailwind. Okay. I don't even pick the model for me. These are the models I normally use. I use Llama and Queen Coder, embeddings, BGE, small. This is interesting. This is the tokenizer that it created and grabbing that too. I gotta store my data somewhere else for it not to grab it. I I host everything on a SSD external that's worth about 2 terabytes. So nothing that anything that I'm building is not installed locally on my laptop itself. So that way, I'll be able to use my laptop and have a portable AI environment. So that way, if anything happens, supposedly the AI goes rogue, I can just unplug it. So that hasn't happened yet, but yeah, I'm curious to see if that happens. Um, interesting. So it's actually give me the directory repository and the structure, how it's gonna be laid out. One thing I noticed though, it's still giving me the chatbot method. It's not giving me the not option, but the sense of having the AI verify the results of the IPM2 meter. And that's what I'm trying to focus on too, is have the AI agent not assess, but more guide the result to show the end user of what data is misinterpreted, what data is skewed, and what data is accurate or inaccurate in some way. So this is interesting how it's not providing that as well. Um, Assessment state machine with approval gates. So I'm really interested to see if this will actually follow steps one by one. Pipelines, chunking 800 to 1200 tokens. This is seriously too much for just one agent. So I'm probably going to add another agent on here. Um, to me, it's not going to handle that much, in my opinion. But maybe if I add a heavy load model besides CoinCoder and Llama, yeah. But right now I'm going to be using Coin and Llama. Let's see, file page line range, metadata, embedding local. Okay, force JSON schema output with claims, core object, parameterize, invention. Okay. So example controller, UI workflows, giving me reporting templates. Pretty interesting with top 5 risks. I'm kind of skeptical with this, but we'll see. Especially with synthetic data or no data at all. I wonder what the outcome would that be. Local model using Bootstrap or Llama. I have a Llama installed on my OS, as you see right there, and I got a Llama Turbo that's tagged on my taskbar. Acceptance criteria, MVP, ask list weaknesses mapped to the 748 guidelines 7. Interesting. From uploaded artifacts, including quotes and page numbers. I'm not sure if new edition of the 748 has been published locally or publicly, but yeah, I'm curious. It's interesting. Expected JSON on 2 with greater than 3 claims, each with greater than 1 or equals to evidence pointer and guideline mapping. UI shows highlightable pages. Let's see, quality gates. Okay, tasks and milestones. Okay, give me a ticket system. Okay, see corpus, security, local file sandbox, data classification tags per document. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna scroll all the way back up. And this is how easy vibe coding is. So we're just gonna copy this whole thing. Open up Notepad. Notepad is much more faster to load than Word document. So I normally use Notepad when I build AI products. So let's open WebStorm. So I did not ask it to do pick a template for me. So let's take a snapshot of this and ask it some advice. Go back in here, paste the snapshot, and say, "Hey, buddy, give me your recommendation." And to me, I'm a total hypocrite for doing this because I'm complaining about how AI has its downfalls, but then I'm asking these types of questions for the AI. So yeah, apologize, but yeah. Hey Daryl, for IPM2 meter Copilot, you want to online, offline, okay. Byte and React, Node. Why not Next.js? Okay. What to do in WebStorm step by step. So Byte, so we use Byte in here. One thing that GPT-5 and other GPT models doesn't do for me, I cannot just go scroll to the bottom and say, build this for me, buddy. It doesn't want to do it. So not so AGI yet. So it's telling me to go to Vite, React, and TypeScript. So we'll do that. So Vite, Node, and then React. Use TypeScript template. So we'll create a folder called IPM2 meter agent. Also, one thing about building an agent, vibe coding, the vibe coder agent does not like anything else than besides the underscore. So you see most of my builds, as far as the main directory, I have to put underscore. If I put a dash, it goes straight. It doesn't want to think as it should be. So find it that underscores are the best when building Z. All right, so I think it said Node, but let me check. React TypeScript. Okay, it's Node. So I got Node installed. Byte also. So we're gonna hit create. Let that load up. So right now it's indexing, meaning it's just developing the entire directory. One thing about JetBrains, it comes with out-of-the-box external libraries, which gives you the GraphQL, and it gives you a embedded built-in database with SQL that you can actually take and actually convert it onto your entire directory. So we're going to run npm install. So let it install. Augment, partner in crime. This raises a question that I've always asked myself. I'm replicating a open site and I'm creating a product. Does that mean, is that copyright? I mean, am I just copying and pasting and building stuff on my own? I don't know. But whose fault is it? Is it Augment's fault or is it my fault? Because right now, as you see physically, I gave the task to Augment, and Augment is going to build it for me. So who is at fault, me or Augment? Some stupid question that I always ask myself. But anyway, Right. So now that it's actually applying, so it's applying the ESLint. Right now I got no vulnerabilities, so it's working pretty fine. It added all the 230 packages. So let's give it specific direction. And the reason why I'm giving it specific directions because it's still not smart. So I gotta like micromanage it. So I try and go as detailed as possible. So we're gonna go back in here. Since Jeopardy created the prompt for me, I'm just gonna copy this whole thing, create. All right. I'm not going to enhance the prompt. I'm just going to leave it as is. I want to see the outcome of what it actually is going to build directly into this directory. So let's see the magic. So it's even assessing difficulty. I added the prompt to provide that as well. So I want to measure its ability to tell me if the task is complex on its own interpretation or something simple. So pretty awesome how it's actually working as far as context engineering. Run this, run. So one thing also that since coding is very popular in this movement, I'm hoping someday that I can apply this method onto a Word document, directly onto a Word document, and ask Jeopardy or Gemini to type out a report that I need to send out to my team, and then I leave my house for like an hour. I go to Starbucks, and then I come back. The Word document is presented on the screen with track changes on, track changes on, and it's providing comments of what it actually missed in that report. So that'd be pretty awesome to have. This is pretty cool too at the same time, but having that type of capability, that'll be pretty awesome. Which is not fun to build. So I've been trying to build it for quite some time. Not fun. Right now, I don't have anything else open. So it's going to close out the notepad. I'm going to leave Olama open. I normally close it because sometimes it gets slow. Since my computer is about 5 years old. So it gave me the .env file. It's going to be hosting all the API keys from the Olama information to the vector store, API ports, encryption, chunking, which I tweak. Um, One thing I didn't add on here is the vision model or spatial model. I'll add that later on. But what I want to try and do tonight is to put it on a GUI. Um, See how far I can go with that. All right. So now let me create the scoring configuration types and EIA 748 guideline mappings. Okay. It's most likely going to give me a URL to access, but we'll see. So day in the life of a vibe coder. So WebStorm is a JetBrains product. Like I said, I'm not affiliated or sponsored with them, but JetBrains, if you're watching, please sponsor me. I've been using your products. It's pretty user friendly, in my opinion. I don't know. I just really enjoy the environment. So WebStorm is this guy right here. It's JavaScript, TypeScript, and React. It's more user friendly for developing websites, and it's easier for WordPress, but that's where PHP is the uh, the go-to man for WordPress. So one thing I need to challenge myself is to do this without AI. And that's my challenge. So right now it's just developing the code. So as it's building the database, I might just go ahead and grab the out of the box database tools, but we'll see how sophisticated the build will come out. Um, how this thing is being built just by the website. So I just asked it to do a sophisticated assessment on the website. I didn't feed it the publications or the manual. I just gave it this website and say, hey, assess this website and provide your recommendation on how to build an AI product. So right now I'm using Pro, and right now there are a lot of functionality added to to Jeopardy right now. Right now you can connect it to your OneDrive, your Outlook email, connect it to Dropbox, Canva, Box, GitHub, Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, HubSpot, Linear, Notion, Outlook Calendar, SharePoint, and Team. I haven't messed around with this, but I'll do that later. You can manage the schedule to run it on autocomplete, data controls, alone. Same thing with security. Memory, I have it full on, turned on. So yeah, I don't blame it for taking some information and adding it on to something what you just saw here with that prompt. And customization. So with my prompt, I try to add if it can fill. Um, it didn't work, so I took it out. And using this prompt, different models like Claude will not use this prompt. Kudos to Claude for being very secure. But I try to use that same prompt onto to Claude, It wouldn't do it. Gemini's catching on pretty fast. So I'm not using any specific jailbreak prompts on Gemini. You've ever heard of Poe? Poe was is one of the original OGs from OpenAI. I think his name is Alex, but he has Poe. He's been offline for quite some time, but I know he's probably building something in his kitchen. Perplexity, I tried putting that prompt into Perplexity. It did it for about a month, but then it started to catch on. Hey, dude, you're trying to jailbreak me. I'm not going to do this anymore, type of thing. Copilot, I don't really use Copilot because it's everywhere and opt in, opt out. I try to uninstall that damn thing, and every time I update my laptop, a 5-year laptop, it still goes back on. So I've been trying so hard to get rid of it and keep it out for now, mainly because it's everywhere, and I wasn't given the option to opt in, opt out. So, also, Hugging Chat is a pretty good chat interface. Grok 2, Pi, I believe got sold out, or they're not in business anymore, I believe. And Code, I haven't messed around with Codes. I messed around with but not as heavy. Suno's the music thing. Um, let's go back to my partner in crime. So now it is developing the Express API services. So let's check up on that. So here's all the information about the API. So let's see how sophisticated RAG is. Document parsing, indexing. So it's using a Llama RAG pipeline. It didn't go too in depth with the different methods of RAG. So it's only going high level. Core, the database, okay. So here's a squiggly red line. So that means my entire directory is starting to get dirty. Damn you, Augment, and let me think. Shame on you. I gotta check on these squiggly lines. So we got one squiggly line, two squiggly lines, three. Okay. So that's more than one, in my opinion, and it's not gonna work. This bill is not gonna work. It's gonna go down the drain soon. I don't think it would give me a GUI because I would have to resolve all these red squiggly lines. It may be minor. I don't know. I gotta check the problem. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right. So no data sources in SQL. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so these are minor. So let's check the project errors, module, PDF parsing. That's just data or documents that I didn't feed it yet. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll minimize that. $49 in, so hoping it can actually put up a GUI before an hour. So it's like 10 minutes from now, maybe. And now it's in the RAG. So now the vector store is the issue. So let's okay, so it's not connected to SQL yet. So one thing that's pretty wonky, even though it has these red squiggly lines on here, it's going to go to the motions and say that it and I built a most amazing app that we can think of, and it's working 100%. And then when I try to run it, it won't. So it's going to feed my ego, which is pretty cool because when I'm having a bad day, AI can help me cheer up. And with this level of sophistication of the current AI, if we're already claiming AGI and close to ASI at this point, and we're trying to go to Mars, ooh, I think we'll crash, especially if we're depending on AI, in my opinion. But that's just me. Also, just throwing something out there, executives, bosses, supervisors, leaders, you name it, anybody who's high up, they don't want to see this. So make sure when you propose a new idea, make sure it's freaking working. So don't be going out and praising you got a good product, but then next thing you know, you're opening up an IDE and you're actually going through the motions. No, it's not gonna work. I've done it, so that's what I'm saying. They don't want to see the sausage making or cake baking or oven making. They want to see the product and they want to see a value product, marginal valuable product, meaning how unique is it with current AI products? Going into the README. So also just be aware that when it builds out the README, it just auto generates an MIT license. And be careful with that because if you post this on GitHub and you try to upload it using the vibe coding system, it will not put it on private. So you would have to manually go in there and change it. So there are times where I had to go into GitHub and change from public to private. So just be aware of that when you use the features in the vibe coding to upload it into your repository. I haven't done it with GitLab and Bucket. I think Bucket's Confluence. Yeah, I haven't done it with those two environments, but I normally stick with GitHub. Let's see, so it's developing the Bootstrap script, so that means it's still in the RAG and section. All right, so it gave me actual problem. So type word, that's fixed. It just needs to fix all these 19 errors. Also, when you want to fix these errors, it's kind of difficult for the agent to actually fix the errors. You would have to actually take a snapshot of all the errors and tell it to fix it. And sometimes it won't even do it. we would have to constantly go back on there and task it to fix the code. Also, I'm not using the out of the box agent that WebStorm or JetBrains products has, comes out of the box. I use it more as, I guess, other things. I guess I don't know. I don't really use it, but I normally use Augment and other tools such as Root Code and Cloud Code. Gemini Code 2 is pretty cool. Um, and Klein when I was working at the time. But so far, Augment has been doing good with me. Um, with the out of the box agent, it's not really, I guess, sophisticated. So yeah, I revert back to the Augment. All right, so it's installing the AI agent. We're going on 57 minutes, and I still don't have a working GUI. Right, still using the npm dev environment. Making Augment work for his money. It's pretty cool. So one thing about open source, especially from a website, I wonder if it will actually call out the current team members, past team members on the bottom of the readme.md file. See how that plays out. So it's already on the README, which to me it's inaccurate because it's just skipping over some of the areas in the directory. It didn't even create the policy graph, direct folder, reporters folder, the UI. Yeah, I didn't do all that, so I got to go back and retask it again. One hour. So it met its mark, and now it'll build it. But as far as the GUI, not so much. One thing that I'm trying to incorporate is interrupting its thinking process here. Besides clicking on the stop button, I mean, it'll be pretty cool to have some sort of button on here to say pause or resume or redirect somewhere. But I would have to manually press stop here to do that. So one thing that is going on right now with the readme.md file in the system instruction prompt in the user guidelines for augment, I specifically called out in all caps, so I'm shouting at it to fix all code errors before creating the readme.md file. So it's not working well, I guess. So maybe I gotta stop yelling at it, I guess. I don't know. Keep all, so it didn't create a GUI, which is unfortunate. All right, so let's see how this thing came out. Scrolling all the way down just to make sure that it does mention the people involved. Okay, it references this, but doesn't reference the people that actually built it. So gotta tweak the prompt a little bit more to see if we can actually provide that. So it's not even giving me how to run it as well. So it's going to give me the structure. Okay, prerequisites. Okay, done that. Installation. Okay, normally it does give me the main.py to launch the application, but minimizing everything, it's not doing that. So let's highlight everything and close that out. Then create a main.py for to launch the GUI. Let's enhance this prompt. Because it's with that amount of the following, it's probably going to go cuckoo. Okay, directories are checked. Okay, so it's doing that. Okay, so let's hit start. So it should resolve those squiggly lines in the directory, and then we're gonna see a main.py file pop up in this section here, and then it should update the readme.md file. So we'll see. Did not include my API key on here, but don't need to because I'm using Llama, but we'll see. So it has not at least solved any of the squiggly lines on here. Now it's having bomb issues, byte order management, I think. Got the name of that. So one thing about using JetBrains IDE, it always has these issues here, the bomb issues. Hour and 7 minutes. So I have hope maybe he'll give me a GUI. And for any newcomers out there, GUI stands for Graphical User Interface. So also, excuse my manners, but this entire project is open source as well. And let me just provide the website. The open source and on GitHub is called Impact. So you can grab their open source code and run the IPM2 meter from there. Pasting up the directory, it's open source. So just go to CA Hassler and just fork or download the open source code for the actual IPM2 meter. All right, so it still hasn't solved the squiggly lines on here. So just thinking out loud, but I know the senior programmers and coders out there are like, that's not how we code. This is dumb. You know, so far it's working. It's working, but it's pretty boring at the same time. So with builds like this, I normally multitask. So I would have like three other IDEs open, doing three different builds, all at the same time. I try to at least find out what is the limit of my laptop, see when and where it will actually burn, due to the fact that I'm running multiple or a lot of stuff on here with different IDEs. So I'm kind of curious. It has got hot at some point, mainly because it's been hot out here in California, like 90 degrees to 100. So far it hasn't crapped out on me recently. So the most I've ever multitasked with different IDEs is 5. But even with 5, using augment in all 5, it started to confuse itself. So it started to code out one IDE and it started to cross paths, and that's when I started to close everything out and start over again. So just be aware of that. You could multitask, but eventually your vibe coder partner is going to catch on and is going to get confused. So right now it's having npm issues. I already installed npm on my laptop, so I don't know why it's not picking it up. So I have to go in here and find out what's not needed and remove it, just to stay away from bloat. See if it took care. Okay, so might took care. Still something with the vector store. Click on that now instead of having to install. I'll close this out. There's a Chinese writing again. Not being act. Gotta change the default in here. I always forget. Different IDEs have that, so I gotta disable them all. So I'm not a Chinese hacker. Just relax, guys. Just relax. I disable the function on here. So let's see the problems. Ooh, 54. Okay, this is going way south. 73. Eesh. This, to me, it's indirectly telling me to go learn, fucker. Because right now it's at 73 project errors. So Augment's telling me, go learn how to code. Stop depending on me. Hopefully it stays at 73. But since it's having trouble with the vector store, the vector DB, it's most likely going to be inaccurate with the information. So it's creating the UI right now. I'm trying to discipline myself to at least do one live session of how I vibe code or how I AI, just to show, you know, the true reality of vibe coding, the good, the bad, the ugly. And one thing though, I am not going to do something simple like create a notepad for you or write out music lyrics or some crap like that. I'm more into the complex version of AI. So sorry guys, that's not my forte. Like that. Because that's bad, especially I'm trying to build a prototype from a government website. Okay. Now I'm having bomb issues, so I'm gonna go into the settings area. Okay, so here. I always forget where to find a bomb because there's a section in here that I can go and fix the bomb by myself. Oh, there you go. So let's do. Did it try and do it? Okay, never mind. Took care of it already. Close that out. Open up the README, see if it actually. Oh, it's getting tired. Yeah. Yes, guy, keep going. We're not done yet. Jeez. Your creator says you're like the smartest AI out there. Why are you stopping? Offline, I want to fact check this. I don't think it's offline. I doubt it. Evidence? I'm going to tell you straight out, nope, probably not going to do that. It's probably going to give me a simple GUI. And when I get that GUI up and running, I'll probably end the session. So hopefully an hour and 21 minutes. Maybe it will be 3 hours for me to do this full build, to actually get a GUI, maybe have it naturally interact with me. But once I see the GUI up, I'll post this up on GitHub. And I'll call it something else, because I don't want to violate any copywriting rules, especially with these entities. So it did create the HTML file, but did not create the main.py file, which I can run locally, but still it's going to give me a website. So now it realizes that the vector store is in the directory. Let's manually fix the mom, I guess. Oh, geez. Doesn't want to take any of these things. Let's try Sisu. Now let's cancel, because if I revert, it's going to stop the whole thing and it's going to reload. Sometimes it gets slow, especially having bomb issues. It's going to get slow if I reload. So it removed the vector store file. So it's recreating it without the bomb. So we'll see. Oh, like this. Non-Chinese hacker. Don't worry. So let's try building again. Right. So errors now it's spotting better dash SQLite 3, UUID, and ZZN or Zod. So new squiggly line on the Alama client. I'm going to remove the first augment code thing. That way it'll be 1. Normally I try to minimize it down to one augment as far as the running process, so that way it won't confuse itself. So I try to just keep it at a minimum of one. All right, so now it's going to create the GUI, which it'll create the GUI, but with the llama having the squiggly line, it's not going to work. So it still hasn't even created the main.py file. All right, so I have faith that I'll have a GUI soon. Check the scripts. I was using Bootstrap. This is where I learned that you have to go beyond the code and even go behind the code, because you can build this entire directory with the partner in crime, but then, like I said, if it doesn't deliver any type of value, why build it? And if you can't even understand the directory itself, why build it? So it actually did create the main.py. So let's create the Python interpreter, meaning the environment, the virtual environment. 3.14 normally works, but I try to stick with 3.13 since it works well with me. 3.14, man, it's kind of wonky. So virtual environments or Python interpreters are really important to use because they're like the middleman between your local system and what you're building. All this here to me is bloat, so I got to go back and clean it up. So right now it's stuck at the bomb character in readme.md file. Also, I try to have two AI agent IDs work at the same time. It doesn't work. Maybe someone out there has tried it and it actually does work. So I try to have augment work throughout the directory and then have the out of the box agent start the main.py file, but they don't jive together, I guess. So right now we're at let me see if I just probably inspect the code. See project files, analyze. Try something different. Yeah. 27 warnings, 1 typo. So I'm having issues with JavaScript and TypeScript. A llama. I'm having issues with JSON. Use symbols. Just typos. So 28. 72. So it's going up. So every time I vibe code, my ultimate goal is to have zero errors. To me, this is a dirty directory, and it requires me to learn. So I would have to go back in here and look at these squiggly lines and dissect each line. How can I fix it and this thing move forward? Going on an hour and a half. Still don't have a GUI. So let's try something different. So let's stop this process here. Keep all. Copy the main.py. Refresh the agent and just say run the main.py and see if it'll actually pull it up. So even with the squiggly lines and the 79 errors, it still will do it. Like I said, it's instructed to do it no matter what the odds are. If it's end of the world, it will still give me a GUI. It won't give me working GUI, but it'll give me a GUI. Because that's the ultimate goal. So right now, it's giving me just a control panel, something basic, which is not what I was looking for. So now I'm going to task it to give me a chat interface with scoring system like what it proposed in its proof of concept. So let's try if these buttons work. Open web interface. So even the URL does not work as well. And the default URL is always the localhost 3000, and it doesn't work. So I got to go back here and fix those squiggly lines. So let's try installing the dependencies. Okay, so I'll give it to him, or it. It did start successfully, but the functionality is not working. All right, so it's about 1 hour and 34 minutes. Maybe we'll add a chat interface. So let's do that. Let's take a snapshot of this GUI. And task it to create a chat interface tab. So see the image and also create a chat interface tab that I can naturally interact with the agent. I'm gonna give it a little encouragement. Good job on the build. Good job on the build. Please continue to do a good job. Good job. Please. Overdoing it already. Okay. So see the image and also create a chat interface tab in the current GUI that I can naturally interact with the agent. Good job on the build. Please continue to do a good job. Please create the chat interface. Please execute the task. It's too much pleases. It's still not giving me the right thing it should be doing. So 7 out of 10, difficult, okay. So front end integration. Let's see, back-end communication, because it's not connected to any SQL server or database. The UI, state management, handling conversation. So it doesn't have NLP, but it's using Olama, so it should be automatic. So I normally keep this open. Found it in trial by error that if I close it right away, it's going to go crazy. And it's going to give me a whole different new GUI that I'm not even aware of instructing it to do. So I'm adding a chat tab. So as you see here, the RAG is still the issue. So with the interacting with the agent naturally, most likely it won't do it, but the chat interface will be built out. And also keep in mind that you have to constantly remind it to update the readme.md file because the more you build on this directory, it just doesn't update this majority of the time. So you have to go in there and manually do it yourself or task the agent. So it's supposed to use Electron and it's using tkinter, which is unfortunate because it says here Electron, but it's giving me tkinter. Probably heard me, so I was probably going to open up an Electron. Oh, no, was wrong. So, let me see. Nope, didn't add any chat interface. Okay, so it added the Alama. Oh, okay, never mind, I was wrong. Disconnected. Oh boy. The disadvantages of vibe coding. So let's see. If I type in hello, still not going to do it. Okay, so now I got to go copy this entire error, stop the current task. Since it gave me this error, I'm not going to accept all, so I'm just going to go and ask it to fix the errors. Okay. To me, AI agents are like having a teenager. I asked my daughter, to clean her room every day, and next thing you know, she says she cleans her room, but then she hides all her trash and junk in the closet, and just having the overall view look as if she cleaned it all, but then all her trash or stuff underneath her bed, in her drawers and stuff. So that's how I see these agents. So they'll feed you good information, but then when you try it out, yeah. Or it's like dating. You go out and you go on the first date, but then you want to try out again on the second date. But on the second date, you want to get to first or second base, but then it doesn't happen. So every time you try again, going on that third and fourth date, you're like, dude, this girl's not doing anything for me. So it's more like chasing the carrot. So that's one thing these agents are good for. They like to make me chase the carrot. So the installation is taking long. So it's building an exe file. So we'll gotta go back and trace it. Let's go on the UI and see what it's actually doing. Right. Okay, it's doing something. So let's clear the chat. Test the connection, see where it's at. Still disconnected. An hour and 43 minutes. It's just maybe too long. I just want it to interact with me. That's all I want. Just say hello back. That's all I'm asking. So now that it's still having issues, it's gonna revert to, I guess it's safety net, and build simpler GUIs, I guess, if you put it that way. It's always reverting back to the simplest forms. So now I'm going to add a mock response to test the GUI.
Can you show what happened?
Almost done.
Done. No.
Okay, so let's see if it'll actually interact with me. If not, post this on GitHub with a different name and end the session. All right, so it says Llama's running, still disconnected. Oh, let's start API server, disconnection. There you go, finally. Still has errors, but it actually said, hello, I'm the IPM2 METRR Copilot AI agent. I can help you with information, security assessments, compliance frameworks, and risk management. How can I assist you today? So it's still generic, as you see here. IPM2 METRR is not meant for, well, it is in sort of way, but it's more focused on project and program management. But yeah, it's supposed to provide that type of service. So it's still giving a generic response, but it did say hello, which is good progress. So I'll go ahead and keep all, I'll let it run its process. We'll keep this one up. And we'll go on GitHub and create a repository. Okay, so this is my GitHub repository. So let's add new. So let's name it. Let's say PPM agent. Yeah, let's do that way, and then go back in here. We'll just paste the summary. And then we'll keep it public. We'll do MIT license. So MIT license, Apache license. I think another license gives the creator the opportunity to open source this thing as is pretty much. So we'll go ahead and do that. So there are two ways to upload the entire directory. Easiest way to do it, as to my partner in crime, but I'll go ahead and stop augment. I'll close everything out and I'll save it. And we'll go the manual way. Go into my directory. Open up the directory itself, and then upload the files. So GitHub only has the options to upload less than 100 files. So what I normally do is I do select all. I copy it first, just in case, because sometimes it doesn't work. So I drag this entire directory in here. And if nothing happens, that means that's over 100 files. So, and I'll tell you right here, yowza, there's a lot of files. Try uploading fewer than 100 at a time. So let's do at least 4, see what happens. There you go. And we'll do the other 4. Dump this in here. So I gotta cut it down. So let's try 2. Try to down packages again. I mean, it's okay. Pocket down and scroll around. You commit. So to call files, ignore the number that and do select as for the day. So I'm going to put it here. Okay, so let's go back. Copy the header file and then here's update and to include the recent updates. So just click on and edit the mobile file. So every time I see the box over, I'm going to refresh it. Just draw it up for me so I can always hit refresh. Let's scroll down and see what is probably the pilot file to install it and open it. Okay, so let's scroll down. Alright, so great. We're going to Python. Let's see the action. Okay. Number 3. Okay, so we're going to look here. No, you know, you both So this is towards the end of the history. This is a better opportunity to deliver it's pretty much. So total 2 years with a complex task. Really pretty interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. What is this? It's there, so let's copy this entire file. Paste it and we'll record it. Make my changes. And we go back to the image. Alright. It does have the powerful one here, which is the important because it's done. And so forth. So, like I said, check the video. Thank you for sticking around to IP2M intelligent, and sophisticated, but the basics of it. Just torture the color, fixing the colors, making sure that the have solidarity with joining this type of picture of being behind if you don't have say 20 years. So fix the errors before you scale up. Let's see if we can this if you have some general events on that, you could buy all the topics, but if you know if you could have let's see what you appreciate more